Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ariana Kraft. A man in Wilson is now in custody after firing a rifle out of a moving vehicle. Wilson police say the man fired at least 10 shots towards a home. Jerame Applewhite of Wilson, North Carolina is being charged with attempted first-degree murder and 2 accounts of assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill. Police say the shooting was involved in a domestic incident. The rifle was found with Applewhite when he got arrested. He is being held on a $1 million bond. Atlanta police released body cam footage showing the confrontation leading up to an officer shooting Rayshard Brooks. Brooks' death Friday night prompted the resignation of Atlanta's police chief and more protests. CBS News correspondent Nancy Chen reports.
The newly released body cam video shows an officer waking up Rayshard Brooks in the drive-thru of an Atlanta Wendy's.
Hey man, you're parked in the middle of the drive-thru line here.
After moving his car, the 27-year-old father of 4 tells police he does not remember blocking the lane.
You don't recall just minutes ago where you were passed out behind the wheel in the drive-thru?
Like I said, I'm sorry if I just got something to eat.
Eventually, officers administer a sobriety test.
Will you take a preliminary breath test for me? It's yes or no.
I don't want to refuse anything.
It's yes or no. It's completely up to you.
Yes, I will.
Okay, just wait here while I grab it.
I know. You just doing your job.
Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Very good. I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me.
As the officer tries to arrest Brooks, a struggle begins. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says this surveillance video shows Brooks taking off with an officer's taser. Just before now fired Officer Garrett Rolfe shoots him.
You could have boxed him in. Support came in, I think, 2 minutes. He would have been boxed in and trapped. Why did you have to kill him?
The Wendy's was torched during weekend protests. No justice! Nationwide demonstrations for police reform continued Sunday, and the attorney for George Floyd's family released disturbing new video of his May 25th death in Minneapolis. In the video, bystanders beg another responding officer to stop Derek Chauvin from pressing his knee on Floyd's neck. Nancy Chen, CBS News.
Following the protests in the wake of Rayshard Brooks' death, people of an Atlanta neighborhood helped clean up the Wendy's parking lot where Brooks spent some of his last breaths. Brooks was shot during a confrontation with police and died later at the hospital. The community took to the streets to protest and to set that Wendy's building on fire. The aftermath of the fire made the restaurant unrecognizable.
They're tired, not always agreeing with the way they express their anger, but at least now people are starting to finally listen.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that need to change, and hopefully this will spark something.
The community also held a memorial service to honor Brooks. It was held at the same Wendy's. One woman painted a mural of him at the memorial. People gathered outside of the West Point Military Academy to protest the president. Trump was the speaker at the academy's graduation ceremony, but not everyone agreed with him. Emily Reppert has more.
Black Lives Matter! It's a beautiful thing to see white people, black people, Hispanics, Asians, all types of genders, races, sexes, and creeds come together for a positive cause and for peace and try to restore some humanity in America.
President Trump making the stop in West Point to deliver commencement remarks to 1,100 graduating cadets, while multiple protest groups rallied together outside West Point Academy Saturday afternoon.
I think it's important when dangerous people like Donald Trump come into our neighborhood that our communities show up and demonstrate our resistance to him and his principles and his agenda.
Say her name! Breonna Taylor! One of the groups, Veterans of Peace, calling the president's visit a narcissistic photo op.
We recognize that this is just a stunt, and the nerve he has to insist that these cadets come back to hear him speak. They endanger themselves, their families, the people they come in contact with, to travel all the way back here.
The protest consists of speeches, chants, I can't breathe, and even 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence.
Whoever can, wherever you are, take a knee.
As demonstrators took a knee in memory of George Floyd.
There's people here for the Black Lives Matter struggle. There's people here for the trans struggle, the LGBTQ struggle. And so Trump has done a really good job of organizing all of our struggles and bringing activists and community members from across the board together to try to build a better world.
Hoping to make their voices heard, one peaceful protest at a time.
A South Carolina congressman says calls to defund the police will not happen. Instead, Representative James Clyburn says law enforcement needs to be restructured. There is a growing debate over defunding police departments and allocating resources into communities instead. Clyburn's comments come amid nationwide protests against police violence and racial injustice.
Nobody is going to defund the police. We can restructure the police forces, restructure, reimagine policing. That is what we're going to do.
Protests have been sparking across the country for 3 weeks. NC State University is taking a stance in the national conversation about racism. This comes with the denial of 2 students into the school for racial slurs they allegedly posted on social media. Amani Payne reports.
NC State taking a strong stance against racism tonight, saying in part, we vehemently condemn racism and all other forms of discrimination. This after officials say an incoming freshman and an undergraduate student are no longer allowed to attend the school this fall due to racial slurs they made online.
It's kind of nice to see that people are actually being held accountable for what they say and what they do.
What is the right action to be taken against these students?
It's just one of several recent racist remarks made by NC State students. Earlier this month, video surfaced of a member of Sigma Pi Rho saying the N-word. When others told him not to, he's heard saying he can say it if he wants. The fraternity president now says that student has been suspended from their organization pending an investigation, while Alpha Sigma Phi posted this statement announcing the expulsion of one of their members due to a racial slur he made via text. Reese Hilliard, one of just a few black members of IFC Greek Life at NC State, says it's hurtful to witness these incidents around campus. He does his best to combat it and is glad the university is now stepping in.
There really is no room for this. Never really was room for this, but especially now that's like time is up, it's finished.
NC State student body president releasing this video today asking everyone on campus to make people of color feel welcome, coming together and doing the work, hoping to create a better tomorrow.
Shepherd Memorial Library is opening its doors to the public tomorrow with some limitations. 9 on your side's Madeline Ashley shares what that will look like.